Shilo Sanders said that he wants to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. My name is Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and I'm up here to tell you this is a terrible idea for the silver and black, and quite frankly, there's no chance on hell that it is ever going to happen. The reason why that I'm talking about this, and I want to be able to give a shout out to my guy Mike Dixon, one of the best in the biz from over there at Vegas Sports Today. He did a video, and I know that there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of videos that always get thrown around, but when I see a video of Shilo Sanders saying that he wants to become a member of the Las Vegas Raiders, here's the thing. I get people that hit me up on IG, I get people that hit me up on Twitter, and I got people asking me left and right, Mitch, does it make sense for the Raiders to go out and get Shilo? No, it doesn't make any sense. And if you agree with that statement, hit that like button, because I'm telling you right now, not only does it not make any sense, it would be a terrible, terrible decision for this organization to go out and get Shilo Sanders. If you didn't see the video, it's from Complex Con over in Vegas over the weekend. I know that safety is a need, but Shilo Sanders isn't any good at football. And on today's show, I'm going to list a bunch of the reasons why it doesn't make any sense for the Raiders to go out and get Shilo Sanders. Not only is he not good at football, like he was a practice squad player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got some opportunities to make a name for himself this preseason. John Spytek, this regime, they got a lot of ties to that Tampa Bay organization. You're telling me in the event that the Raiders were actually to entertain the idea of going out and getting Shilo, that they wouldn't pick up the phone and call the organization that decided to move on from him? This is also a Raiders team that they did their homework on both of the Sanders brothers this entire offseason, and it's not like that the Raiders, all of a sudden have a need at safety. I understand that the Raiders have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL, and I understand that I sit up here every single week asking for this organization to go out and get a safety. But going out and getting Shilo Sanders, a player that he's not even good enough to be on your practice squad, let alone your 53-man roster. So, no, it doesn't make any sense. Next reason why I'm not going to go out and get Shilo is because if you're going to bring in a player that's not talented in terms of a football player at the NFL level, he was talented, obviously. He played at Colorado. He played at the Big 12. But speaking of the Big 12, I know I talked about this media story a few times on this show, and actually we were the very first people here at the Raiders Report to tell everybody that the Las Vegas Raiders met with Caleb Rogers at the Big 12 media. We sent our Chat Sports team there. Our Chat Sports team was there, and the stories that they were telling about Shilo were shocking. And he was being very rude to media members. He was being difficult to work with. I had a Chat Sports employee tell me that when they started talking to Shilo about Big 12 Media Day, his response was, I'm an NFL player now. I don't care what the Big 12 has to say. My problem with that whole Shilo conversation, and anybody who's an OG, anybody that watches this program knows, we spoke about a lot of those issues in terms of Shilo rubbing a lot of people the wrong way at the Big 12 media. You're not a talented football player. You're causing drama off the field. That is the absolute opposite of what this Raiders organization needs right now. But I'm a man of the people, and I know the Sanders family has a lot of attention on them. I've kind of compared them to the NFL version of the Kardashians, in a sense. To my wife is how I've explained it to them. Now, Shador, he's good enough to play in the NFL. Dion, one of the greatest of all time to do it. But Shilo, he's not that guy, but I'm still going to ask you anyway. Give me a yes, give me a no. Should the Raiders go out and sign Shilo Sanders? My answer coming up here after this YouTube ad break. Clearly, the answer is a no, because he's not any good. I've heard the Big 12 stories, and then he is an attention seeker. At this point, if you're this Raiders organization, you got a 2-5 football team, you need the attention to be on the field. It doesn't need to be off the field. And we got to face the facts. If you bring in Shilo, what he's going to do is create way more eyeballs off the field than do anything for you in sense of winning football games on the field. I mean, like let's just talk about what's happened recently. I saw a video last week. I couldn't even believe it. He dressed up as his brother Shador. Imagine dressing up as your brother and trying to impersonate your brother. I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me. This past week at Complex Con, he literally chased down, I believe, the the singer's name is Sexy Red, and he's like, oh, I guess that she didn't know who I was. I get that your last name is Sanders, but what I kind of get right now from Shilo is a player that wants the attention, wants the spotlight, but is starting to realize that his time in that spotlight is starting to fade away. And so what is he doing? He's trying to keep himself relevant. He's trying to get his name out there. And obviously by him sitting up there saying, I want to play for the Las Vegas Raiders, he knows that he's going to get the attention. Now, maybe I shouldn't have given the attention, but my job is this. When I hear something, when I get asked about it, and I think a lot of Raiders fans think, Sanders, Shilo, there's a need at safety. I hear you loud and clear, but this is not a player you want on the Las Vegas Raiders. I got a few more reasons, and quite frankly, probably the biggest reasons why you're not going to bring Shilo to Las Vegas. Before I do, though, huge shout-out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app. So for those that do not know, this is a Prize Picks lineup from our Chat Sports team on Sunday. You guys are going to watch this video obviously on Monday. I am recording this video on Sunday, but the bottom line is this. Bijan, George Kittle, Tucker Kraft, you guys are going to know whether or not I was able to put some money, or Chat Sports was able to put some money in their pocket. But that is a 3-pick flex play. And if you don't know what a flex play is, on Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose a flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's go to the next reason here of why you don't sign Shilo Sanders. Again, if you're going to add a player at this point in the offseason, especially, and I mean this, Raiders, especially coming out of your bye, that player better be able to help you win football games. That player better be good enough to make that 53-man. The other reason why you're not going to do this is because if you were to sign a Shilo and if he were to turn into somehow the player that, if he could do what he did at Colorado in the NFL, great. That's just not going to happen. He would play the Lonnie Johnson Jr. role, though, right? Where you're going to try to play a big nickel, a big safety. I don't know if he's going to be returning to IR. I definitely hope that he is able to. Not saying that he's going to be able to help out this team too much, because, again, to me, I think Lonnie Johnson Jr. on most teams is a special teamer. I think on most teams is a backup player. But Lonnie is way better than Shilo in terms of special teams, way better in terms of a defensive player, and has that connection with Marcus Robinson, with Joe Woods. So because of the potential returning of Lonnie Johnson, doesn't make any sense to go get Shilo. Let's go to the final reason, and this is, I'm not kidding you when I say this, the biggest reason and the #1 reason why the Raiders would not add Shilo. It's extra pressure on Geno Smith. And some of you might go, well, how is it extra pressure on Geno? Let's be honest with ourselves here, right? You bring Shilo to Las Vegas, you're telling me that people aren't going to want to bring Shedeur Sanders with his brother? Because that's what it would be. It would turn the Raiders into even more of a media circus. You bring Shilo, and we're going to talk about Dion again. We're going to talk about Shedeur. But I think Pete Carroll and John Spytek know that, yes, Sanders means more money. Mark Davis loves money, and he knows that it would bring more money and more eyeballs. But at the same time, Pete Carroll loves Geno Smith. And one of the biggest reasons why the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders in the draft, because of Geno Smith, and they wanted this fan base to rally behind him. What's really going to be hard is to go get Shilo Sanders. It's going to make even more attention on Shedeur. And then you got Geno Smith, who leads the NFL in interceptions. I'm telling you this right now, it doesn't make any sense for the Las Vegas Raiders. So one more time here, I wanted to do this show because I saw a lot of conversations on Sunday around the Raiders potentially going out and getting Shilo because he said he wanted to be a Raider. It would be the same thing as me going out into Las Vegas, looking into a camera and say, I want to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. Quite frankly, I think I have just as much of a chance to play for the Silver and Black, and I actually think that I would help out this locker room more than Shilo Sanders would. So if the Raiders want to sign Shilo, I'm also available, Las Vegas Raiders.